Hey everybody, Rob the Metal Guy here, back at you with another video update for the channel. Today's video's topic is actually connected to the last video I made, and it is in regards to Record Store Day, which was yesterday. And last video I had done here for the channel, I talked about the list that was out and kind of previewed the upcoming releases that were going to be out for Record Store Day, called out the albums that I thought that for myself I'd be interested in. Also, people that follow this channel, if you're new here, welcome. If you're not, then you know that I talk about metal, punk, new wave, variety of styles of metal, of course. Fan of a lot of different black, death, thrash, old, bands, new bands, talking about it all. Also talk about movies if you're interested in that. Previous interviews too, if you want to check out from when I had my radio show in college. I hosted a metal, hard rock, heavy metal radio show the whole time pretty much I was in college. I think besides a couple semesters, did that for a long time. I might be the longest running show from that college radio station. Can't quote me on that, but maybe. I did have it for a long time. I had some interviews, some interesting moments. Yeah, definitely a lot of stories. But for this video, and the last one, I did not think I would actually go to a record store and partake in Record Store Day. Personally, I don't have any desire to wait in lines and deal with people. You want a certain album, but again, there's limited copies on Record Store Day. So if you're a fan of a certain type and there's other fans out there, then what you want might be gone. So you're going to wait in line or show up and there's a bunch of people. Didn't think I would do it. I stated in the last video, I was like, yeah, I might wait till a couple days after, or see, what's left over, because not everything sells on Record Store Day. Last year, actually, I went to a record store that I go to often in Reno when I visit my grandfather who lives there, because otherwise I have no desire to go to Reno, to be honest. I think the city is just complete trash, and we were actually there last week, my nephew, my dad, and I, to visit my grandfather, and I went to Discology, and the last time I've been to Discology was actually close to like a year ago, and that was after Record Store Day, actually a few weeks after. And Dave, the owner, still had some albums left over, and sure enough, he had the Sisters of Mercy Record Store Day release of the early EPs that were, put on limited edition, vinyl special variant. And that was huge because I wanted that album, and I thought, yeah, I probably won't be able to get it because I'm not going to go wait in line and it'll be gone. People were selling it online, of course, for a ridiculous amount, but I was lucky. And this year we talked because it was the week last week, before Record Store Day. So he had some of the albums in. He was telling me what he had, and we were talking about the whole process. He's very knowledgeable. If you ever in Reno, I don't know why. I said I personally dislike the city, the homeless, the gambling, the hookers, I'm sorry, even the restaurants in Reno are, ugh. If my grandfather didn't live there, I wouldn't really go. I'm sorry. And Discology is probably, like I say, the best thing about Reno. But Dave was going over everything, and I think that this year's Record Store Day, there was a lot of, albums that for sure were going to go. Like, again, the fan bases of certain styles. Wasn't surprised that, you have a certain amount of copies for that. But when it came to the stuff that I like, Dave was even saying, you kind of plan what you think people are going to buy. So some of the stuff that I was mentioning to him, he was like, yeah, because again, there's not as much demand for that. Now, if you lived here, maybe that'd be different. But again, for a Record Store Day release, to have an inventory, you want to make sure you sell it, right? That's the name of the game. You don't want to have to be holding on to something, right, for a while, hoping, gosh, I really hope a buyer comes for this because it's been here for, over a year. And I think Dave still had some stuff from the last Record Store Day, Record Store Day exclusives from the previous year. So it's just what it is. But I didn't think I would partake. But actually, let me just show you. When I was there, he had a copy of New Order Brotherhood. I'm a huge fan of New Order. And I did not have this album in physical format. This is a good release. I really do like it. It's just regular black variant, black vinyl, no special variant because, again, I don't need a special variant for New Order, one of my favorite new wave bands. And I think the song that a lot of people know off of this is Bizarre Love Triangle. But Weirdo is actually a song on this album that I really enjoy. It's probably my favorite track off the album. And then you also have All Day Long is a good track, and Angel Dust. That's another song that I think a lot of fans in New Order when it comes to this album. But there's quite a few. My favorite is still Lowlife. That's my favorite New Order album. I have it on CD, and I know that people have shared that, oh, there's a vinyl version. But my thing is, hey, I have it already on CD. I mean, as much as I do enjoy the album, and I mean, there's some albums, yeah, it's definitely worth. I don't mind having the CD and the vinyl, but as long as I have a physical format of an album that I really like, that's what it is to me. But no, I was really glad I got this because I do enjoy the album, and when you listen to the whole way through, Peter Hook, great bass player, love what he comes up with, very creative. So happy that I had that. And Dave and I, we talk music when I'm there. Always good to see. So check out Discology. But getting back to Record Store Day, which was yesterday. I was in the South Bay, and I decided I'm going to go to Rasputin's in Campbell. Out of all the Rasputins in the Bay Area, it's the best. The workers are the nicest. They usually have stuff. Again, I usually go there, and they have a decent inventory. For the most part, I've always had good experiences at Rasputin's in Campbell, which is really next to San Jose. Campbell just is... Got to have a differentiate based on the city names, but to me, it's all that San Jose area. And it's like on the border, so, right? I was born in San Jose, so when I look at everything, it's just, to me, it's like, San Jose just encompasses such a wide area. But I was down there. Actually, I went to the Japanese market, which is just not too far, actually, from Bascom Avenue, which is the Rasputin's is on in Campbell there. The Mitsuya market, and then I also went to a great ramen place I go to quite often. It's called Kahu Ramen. Go there with the family. My mom and I usually go there for lunch, and it's unbelievable food. If you're ever in San Jose, it's off Saratoga Avenue. Check it out, Kahu Ramen. Hey, if you're in the Bay Area and you want to go somewhere, I'm telling you, you got the market, you got great restaurants all around it. You've got the manga, Japanese manga store. If you are a fan of manga and anime, great store called Kinokuniya. The workers are very friendly, very clean, professionally run. I'm telling you, these people have it down to a T. Organized. One to me, it's one of the best stores in all of the Bay Area because it's so nice. You never have a bad experience, and everything's, like I say, it's organized, and the books are in like shrink wrap, so they're protected. Or if you go to Barnes & Noble and get a book, gosh, some dirtbag might have picked it up and went to the cafe, was eating a pastry and drinking a coffee, and so when you go and get your book, because my nephew, when he goes to get his Demon Slayer or his Jujutsu Kaisen, I always feel bad because I don't know how many of those big, weird guys was grabbing the book and thumbing through it. And that's why Kinokuniya, shrink wrapped. There you go, professionally done. So anyway, moving on. I said, okay, I'm going to go to the Campbell, the Record Store Day, to check it out. When I got there, I looked at the... So actually, to begin, though, I should say, there was a line at the bin. So how Rasputin's and Campbell does it, and I got to give credit to the workers, and I actually brought them some candy because they deserved it. They work hard, and it was Record Store Day, so I knew they probably had to put up with a lot of yahoos, such as myself even, interesting characters. I saw an interesting character walking through the parking lot with his pimp cane, his orange hat, and his orange outfit, and he had the shoes, right? Those old-fashioned, like 1950s shoes, sunglasses with the gold trim. Oh boy, looked like something out of a 70s, film and stuff. But yeah, I think I do have interesting characters. So I gave the employees some Japanese candy that I got at the market. As a celebration for Record Store Day. I do stuff. I do nice things once in a while. I try. But when I got in there, I was thinking, hey, where's the bin? I asked one of the employees, and he goes, right behind you. Don't worry, the line's not too long. 15, 20 minutes, had to wait. And how they do it is, gotta give a shout out. You get in line. When you get up to the bins, one person per, the opportunity to look through the bins. If you find something, okay, you get one record, got to get out. And if you want, you can go back in the line. But you can't take 2 or 3 and then go purchase them right away. You have to be fair, give people a chance. So that's how the system works. And they were running it very well, I have to say. And I was able to get the album that I personally really wanted. It was on the top of my list. So when it was my turn, I looked in the bin and, oh, actually, I'll say this. I looked in the D's because I was interested to see if the Deicide Once Upon the Cross 30th anniversary special edition limited variant was still available. If it was, yeah, I might buy it. I do like the album. There's some good songs on it for sure. I mean, I have it on CD though, I think. So it wasn't to me. It was one of those things like, yeah, maybe if they have it. But like Carcass Necroticism, I also quickly checked just to see. Again, these were labeled, right? You know, you actually had them alphabetized. So people shouldn't have had a problem finding what they wanted. If somebody was taking a long time looking, I thought to myself, seriously, you didn't have the time to go online, look at the list, figure out what albums you wanted so that way you can go through thumbing through every single dang record in that bin. That's just ridiculous. I mean, I'm sorry. That when I saw that, sometimes I'd shake my head. For the most part, though, you had people that they knew what they wanted and when they looked. And so for me, I quickly was able to find it because I looked in the M's and bam, The Mission, Neverland. This is the 5th studio album from The Mission, UK band, new wave, goth rock. They formed in the 80s. Wayne Hussey and Craig Adams, two members that were in the Sisters of Mercy, they left, formed The Mission. Wayne Hussey, a tremendous guitarist, songwriter, singer. I actually have the Wayne Hussey 12-string Corsair model. I think I've shown it before in a video on this channel. It's over there in my room. And huge fan of The Mission. God's Own Medicine, their debut album, is probably, that's one of my favorite all-time albums. And a lot of metal people I know, when I talk to them, a lot of fans of heavy metal music, they also like The Mission, right? They like the sound. They like the creativity. Again, Wayne using the 12-string, coming up with some just powerful, you know, all-encompassing riffs. And this album came out in the 90s. But you still, again, Wayne's style and his ability as a songwriter to come up with these very deep, meaningful songs. There's something about their music that always just connects with you. It really stands out. And the song on here that really is one of my favorites is Swoon. And I got to see them live. That's actually the shirt from the show I went to when I saw them last year. And they played Swoon. And kind of gave me a different appreciation of the song to hear it live because it just sounded so amazing. And Wayne's voice. And what's cool about this release, you get the album, right? And I believe it is possibly remastered. Plus you get different versions of Swoon. So you actually have a couple here. It's a 2 LP set, and on the second LP you get 2 different, I believe, mixes of Swoon. And you also, the tracks from the album that I really like are like Afterglow and Raising Cain is the actually the first song. It's a good track as well. But Afterglow, similar to some of the other songs from The Mission, it has this kind of unique, almost like Middle Eastern. It reminds me of like the Kashmir sound, right? The, you know, Zeppelin and the bands that kind of, I guess you would describe it as like almost therapeutic, almost, you know, Middle Eastern meditational type sound. It just, like, it calms you. And I always like that when he comes up with those types of riffs in his music and the production, the way it sounds. And what's cool about this is it's on special variant, as you see there. Got the yellow. That I believe is disc 2. And then the first disc is it's a special red variant. And the lyrics too, the Mission logo, that's always something I always liked. Got a photo there, Wayne Hussey. And then you got the red. It's really nice, that color. So, and this is a Record Store Day, I believe, exclusive. There's only like 1,000 copies printed. So my hope is that people are not buying this album and then they're going after fans online, jacking up the price. But The Mission, I will say this, smart, and they thought ahead. Do not fear, people. They are actually going to put this on CD. Yes, Neverland will be a 2-disc CD, and it's going to be sold through their website. So I'm really happy they did that, because not everyone collects vinyl, right? People still just are CD only. So if you don't have it or you're interested in getting it, it's on their website. And I believe it's going to be a pre-order for it, and it comes out in May. So look for that. You can go on their social media pages. They have, the link to the Mission store. I believe they also printed new copies of certain shirts they were talking about. So really happy they did that, because I know that you can get some interesting characters on Record Store Day. And Rasputin's definitely has this, especially I've seen it at Rasputin's and Campbell. People will go there and they'll just try to look on Amazon, or they'll look up albums and they'll see it. And what they probably do is they buy it and then they try and go and sell it at a higher price, either online or at a flea market. There's nothing against it. I just find when they jack up a price on something like a Record Store Day release, that's just being a dick. I'm sorry. I can't stand that. You're just a piece of crap trying to rip off fans that actually care about the artist and want the album, right? And that's something I've always been against. Now, there is something interesting. The employee that was monitoring the bends, he was kind of like the bouncer. This guy, he's great. He's a funny dude. He's got the sunglasses, he's got the beard with the kind of like the Lemmy look, right? He's got the Lemmy look with the hat. He's been there for a while now at Rasputin's and Campbell. And he was saying to some people online that there was a guy that showed up at 12 o'clock midnight, before Record Store Day, and he waited in his car, or he was waiting. And that's insane, right? You showing up at 12. I mean, it's turning into like Black Friday, these people. I'm surprised they don't have tents camped out. And maybe they do at some record store places for Record Store Day release, and stuff. But I couldn't believe that. Guy was there at 12 o'clock at night. And he still was number 2 in line, I think. I heard 12 o'clock, and sure enough, he was doing the thumbing through all the albums. You've been there all that time and you didn't know what you wanted. Wouldn't be surprised. Oh my goodness, stuff like that. He was I don't know what type of fan he was. Maybe he wanted the Wicked soundtrack because he's that type of, I don't know, some type of weirdo. Like, you show up at 12 at midnight. You're in the Rasputin's parking lot on Bascom Avenue, which, mind you, that's a very interesting place late at night. You get some characters walking down that street, and they're on the drugs, the alcohol, all the above, A to the Z, brother. They're on everything, as the Iron Sheik would say. I would not be sleeping in my car in a parking lot of Rasputin's, especially on Bascom Avenue at night. I mean, that's just, you're insane. And then I'm going to say this too. There was somebody at that Rasputin's yesterday that did not take a shower, and it was starting to remind me of like those Fanimes, right? Where you go and the cosplayers are there. And also like those, I've never been to a Comic-Con, but I've heard stories of like, you get the guys, they got the backpack, they got the scruffy beard, they look like cave trolls, like they just rolled out of their mama's basement, and they smell like they got such bad BO. So people will walk around and they have little baskets with little mini travel-sized deodorant sticks, and they start handing them out. And as much as that's a dick thing to do, people are like, oh, that's mean. There were some people yesterday that I think they would have been nice if somebody had handed them a travel-sized deodorant. Just saying. I'm not trying to be mean, but, it's Record Store Day. You could have at least taken a shower, man. Just please, for the other people that have sensitive smells in their nostrils, their sinuses. I'm sorry. I digress. Anyway, all right, that was my Record Store Day experience. Let me know, how's yours? If you went to a record store, did you get what you wanted? Is there an album that you're still looking for? Because I do know Dave in Discology in Reno, he showed online what he still has available. Like, he still had some albums, in stock from Record Store Day. He puts it on there. So if you're interested in Rasputin's, they still have some. They showed the bends. So, hey, if you're looking for still maybe an album that you couldn't find at your store, and you can reach out, online stuff too. I'm sure some of these stores will hopefully sell, or they'll have them in the inventory to where it's a fair price. They're not going to next week try to rip people off like those eBay douches. So yeah, leave a comment below, like and subscribe. Rob the Mail Guy signing off. Later.